we got a legend on. Grew up watching this man coach. One of my admirations in the coaching world. So coached a lot of good friends of mine, kids I recruited, coached for this man. People I grew up with, coached for this man. So it's an honor to have him on. And the legendary Coach Edwards joins the show. Coach!
How you doing?
Good morning. You guys are off to a hot start.
Let's go.
In the background here. I'm
hey,
like, whoa.
It's like you and Shaun Salisbury back in the day. I'm on a show with Shaun after this, so I remember when you came on his show, man. So I was like, I was loving it. Man, you had Prentice Gill coaching with you, man. One of the kid I recruited, man, back in the day in Compton College when I was the head coach there, and great young man, man. I'm glad you moved him over to wideouts, though. He was a DB guy.
Yeah.
That's great.
Really did an excellent job. Really good recruiter. Knew the LA area.
Yeah.
Got us some good kids there. Yeah, he's a really good football coach.
Nah, you did it right. You did it right with the LA guys, getting him and AP, obviously, who I grew up with. And you had Hawk. You had some guys you had some good dudes, all guys I coached with or been around. So I love it. What was the biggest transition, man, that since you've gone out, since you got to see this transition from this NIL deal and this transfer portal craziness, what was the biggest shock you coming back to college? Was it a shock or was it like, oh, this is the NFL? This ain't no shock to me.
No, it really wasn't hard as a lot of people may imagine. Once you can have conversation with players, I always put the player hat on when I became a coach. And I asked myself this question, make sure, you allow your players to ask questions. Questions are good. Some coaches don't like questions. They think it's questioning authority. I say, man, look, questions are knowledge. Yeah. I tell players all the time, man, ask for knowledge, man, because that's all we can give you. We can't give you talent. We can give you knowledge. And the only way you receive knowledge is ask questions. And from there, basically, look, I grew up in the neighborhood, man. I'm good. It's like, I get it. Nothing's going to faze me. I mean, I went back and I had a good crew of guys, man. I mean, really, and some good coaches that were connected with those guys. So it wasn't a hard learning period. And guys in college, their number one ambition is do what? They want to play pro football.
Yep.
Okay. So how do you put them on a platform to be able to do that? And my big thing to their parents was real simple is, look, I don't know if he's going to play pro football, but I know this, he's going to graduate. And all the guys we had there graduated. Jayden Daniels, graduate, all of them, they all graduated. Hey, man, you guys are going to graduate. That's what I promised the parents. I can promise you this, they will graduate. They will get coached. And other than that, I said, we're going to go have some fun, try to win some football game.
Coach, let me ask you something real quick before Smitty jump. Are they still as hungry as they once were, though, with this NIL thing? Is the NFL their admiration anymore, or is it getting college money and staying in college as long as you can?
Well, I think if you're on the fence, you stay in college as long as you can, right? Because, only 2% of these guys are going to make it in the National Football League. And the life expectancy is about 3.4 years or something like that. So, now what it does, all of a sudden the car lots are nice, or nicer in the players' lot. They got better cars than the coaches. And the hardest part, I think, is that when money gets involved, egos get involved. And players start looking at, well, you paid this guy this, and you paid that guy that. Why did I get paid, right? And so you got to deal with that at an early age. That already happens in the NFL when they start in the NFL. And then all of a sudden, that train goes early now. Okay, who else is the kid got to give money to? You got to give grandma some money, grandpa. He's all of a sudden this young guy at 17 rather than at 21. We used to get him in the NFL. He may be providing for his family. That's tough on a kid, right? I mean, it kind of speeds up the process.
No doubt.
It definitely does, Coach. Let's dive into this piece here. Obviously, you had a great playing career, and then from there you transitioned pretty much straight into coaching, being an analyst as well. But what was the motivation for you to transition into coaching? Like what was it about you, passion wise, that I guess made you want to give back to the game?
Well, you're right. I wanted to get back to the game, and once you played as long as I played. And, I wasn't drafted. I was kind of blackballed coming out of college because I was one of those guys that asked questions. And when I asked questions back in the early 70s, you couldn't ask the coach a question. You were threatening authority, So I was searching for knowledge. And when I became a player, obviously I said, my next stop is going to be, I want to coach. I want to get back to the game of football. And I just wanted to be a secondary coach, to be quite honest. I had no aspirations of being a coordinator or a head coach. Let me coach the back end and I'm good because I'm comfortable back there. I like my guys back. There's a certain mentality you have when you play DB. You got a room of a bunch of A personalities, man. It's good stuff. And then from there, obviously, Tony Dungy and myself, we came out of college the same time together, and we were hooked to the hip. He went to Pittsburgh Steelers, I went to the Eagles, and he started coaching earlier than I did. And then eventually we got together in Kansas City with Marty Schottenheimer. He was on that staff. He had Bruce Arians, Tony Dungy, Bill Cowher, a bunch of guys on that staff. And then from there, Tony went to Tampa, and then I went to Tampa with Tony, right? Yeah. And then from there, I kind of, to the Jets, and then got traded back to Kansas City, and then went on television, put some makeup on for about 10 years, and then went back to Arizona State, and that was a lot of fun too, man. And now I'm back, put the makeup on the worldwide leader. So
would you coach again? Would you do it again? Would you coach again?
I'm coaching, man. Look here, I'm coaching from the studio, man. You know what?
Right.
There's no wins or lost in the studios, boys.
Would you? I'm pretty sure I know this answer, but would you say coaching is harder than actually playing?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Because you're dealing with so many personalities, and you want to. And look, and I always tell coaches, I said, look, at the end of the day, man, I say when they kick the ball off, I said you got to trust the players. And I always tell coaches, I said, man, don't ask these guys to do things they're incapable of doing. Put them in position where they can succeed. That's why I used to tell the players, say, look, I'm going to put you in position where you can succeed. That's all I want. I want you to be successful. And I told the coaches, I said, hey, that's our job, man. Make these guys successful. When they ask questions, give them answers. I said, you got 30 seconds when that guy comes off the field. When something bad happens, you got to fix it. You got to fix the problem because they're looking for answers.
No question. Let me ask something real quick. This whole the NFL now, obviously, it's kind of like, I don't know. Do you see a player empowerment issue? Do you see like the kids? The first time ever, I've been telling Smitty that we're seeing like high school kids transferring 4 times in 4 years. You recruit Jayden. I coach Jayden, seen him around his whole life here in SoCal. Him, CJ Stroud, Bryce Young, all here together at the same time, basically getting to watch those 3 in SoCal. And they go Bryce Young went from Cathedral to Mater Dei to like Pasadena, Muir. Like this is like kind of like the norm. Then they go to college, transfer 4 times.
Yeah.
And then in the NFL now, you're seeing guys that are on contract demand a trade. Is this not kind of the first time you've seen the player empowerment at this level?
Yeah, because back in my day, when you signed a contract, you couldn't get out of it. I mean, even when your contract was ended, they still had your rights. And so they could hold you. They could say, well, you can go sit at home because we're not going to trade you. There's no free agency. There was no free agency when I came to the league. You signed a contract. You signed a 3-year deal. Okay, it ended. They told you, here's the money we're going to pay you. You say no. We say, okay, well, then sit. And you couldn't do anything. You're just sitting there. Well, now there's free agency. There's, these players now, I'll give credit to the players. Now they got to watch themselves because eventually you become a guy that if you keep bouncing around, that says something about you too, right? And all of a sudden, and I know players want the right fit. That has a lot to do with it. They want the right system. That has something to do with it. But some guys, they're like nomads. 2 years, they need to change the scenery. Yeah. And that's okay. Sometimes you actually go recruit a guy or you draft a guy like that knowing, hey, he ain't going to be here long. We just need him to fill this void for about a year or two. We'll get him out of here. He'll go somewhere else. That's okay, but he'll fit. And so you got to understand how you build your team.
No, for sure. Let me ask you this. Let's stay talking about, today's football in this era. Myself and Coach JB, we always have like these different debates where he feels like football is kind of like in a bad spot. He feels like this is like the worst quarterback play that he's seen in different eras. And with the rule changes, you can't hit the quarterback. It's kind of softer. How do you, I guess, view the overall landscape of where the NFL is at today?
Well, a lot of it has to do, for me, is what system is the quarterback in and who's the play caller? And does the play calling match up with the quarterback's ability? Look, I had Chad Pennington.
Right.
Chad Pennington, hey, Here it is. You stay in the pocket. You ain't running. You ain't making no extra yards. We're going to be a play action 49er offense with Chad Pennington like Joe Montana. You ain't running nowhere.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, 49ers get Steve Young. Well, same offense, but now we can move the pocket a little bit. We got this quarterback. He can do this. So you better know who that guy is. When I had Jayden, all right, I told Jayden, I said, here's the deal. Started him as a freshman. I said, the offensive coordinator is telling you got 3 reads. I'm telling you got 2. You got 1, you look for the guy. If the number 2 guy ain't open, run. Go ahead and run, man. And I used to tell him, when you run, know when the journey's over, protect yourself. Just protect yourself, right? Just slide, run out of bounds, man. You ain't getting the 3. Don't worry about 3. You might get to the 3rd read, maybe your 3rd year. But your 1st year, you 1, 2, go. You know, and so know who he is, and then will you build the offense around his talent? But also, for me, it's real simple. How do you protect him? You got to run the football. You got to run the football. You got to give him a breather.
Yeah.
You got to give the guy a breather. To me, here's the biggest thing I see in football right now. And no one can cover him. No one can cover the tight end, guys. No one covers the tight end. No one has an answer. I'm going to tell you something. And I'm gonna say it right now. You guys show. The Raiders have maybe the 2 best tight ends in football.
Woo!
I've been saying it.
They got a runner too now.
They do.
Okay.
What you saying, Coach? What you saying, Coach?
I'm telling this. If I'm the Raiders, I'm playing 2 tight end offense.
Okay?
With 1 back, 2 receivers, I'm good. And I'm gonna tell the NFL, you deal with this. You deal with that twin set when them 2 tight ends are sitting over there and the slot on the other side. I'm gonna tell you, you got a problem. Then you got a runner. They can't cover the tight ends, guys. Them 2 tight ends they got down there. Good luck,
Coach. What do I know? Because I only said getting the damn 12 last year and let Brock Bowers eat. Let Brock Bowers eat. Make this young because they didn't have a quarterback. To your point. So if I got a journeyman quarterback, guess what? 1 read and Devontae Adams out there dictating. I'm dictating by the coverage, right? 1-on-1 on Devontae, because you got to figure out what you're gonna do with those safeties on my 2 damn tight ends. So
here's the crazy part: they got to stop the run.
That's what I'm saying.
When you bring 2 tight ends in there,
add a gap.
You bring a heavy package in the defense.
Yeah.
See, and here's the problem in pro football now. And Philadelphia exposed it. Pro football is this: 1 tight end, 3 wide receivers, and a running back. So what did the defense do? They draft these light linebackers that weigh about 215 pounds. Why? Because they want them to cover.
Yep.
Well, guess what? They turned around and gave the ball Saquon Barkley, and they're just beating him. They're knocking them dudes. Man, he touches the ball, he got 5 yards before he even gets hit.
Yeah.
And it's like no one can stop the run. No,
him and Derrick Henry last season, right?
Well, yeah. Everybody plays with a light box because they got these light linebackers. And if you just run the ball, you're in 2nd and 4 all day.
So let me ask you this. Everything is full circle. Do you feel like the game is going to kind of go back to an extent where linebackers now got to put on more weight and be more physical? And
here's another thing that you guys mentioned about the quarterback. So now the quarterback, you don't put all this stress on this quarterback saying, hey, man, you got to throw it 50 times. Philadelphia ran the ball more than they threw it, guys.
Yep.
They ran it for 550 times. They ran the football. 550.
Yep.
They ran the ball more than they threw it. They were a running team, and they win a Super Bowl.
Defense, run the ball, hold the clock. Shit, you got a good recipe. I know you're a real one, Coach, because you coached one of my former kids, knucklehead ass Jack. So I know you had to deal with him. I'm glad to see him have some success with the Raiders, and now I think Pete moved on from him. I don't know if they kept him or not. Did they? I'm not sure, but hopefully the kid ends up doing. I did a lot for that boy. Shit, I know you did.
He's special now. He's special. He is special.
You told AP, you got his ass. You coached him at Poly, boy. You watch his ass.
Oh man,
shit, I already know.
I used to walk on my meeting, in the team meeting. I walk around. I used to know where he's sitting. I look. I go, is he there? Is he here?
Hey, because he's so damn fat. He's got that it factor. You need him on the damn yard, but it's like, boy, are you gonna come to practice?
Coach, I used to laugh at him and say, hey, look, man, here's the deal, man. I said, don't make it real simple for him. I said, Jack, you got cat coverage. Just go cover the cat, man. Just go cover your cat. Don't worry about all the rest of that mess. Just go cover your cat.
Hey, you dropping these little one-liners that a lot of folks in the chat may not understand. You tell, hey, I know the OC told you to do this, but I'm telling you to do this. People don't realize the seat that we had as the head coach is just a different. The wins and loss record go on our ass, not your ass. OC, DC. Yeah, so like you got to tell these freshmen, these youngsters, like, hey man, listen, I know they're teaching you all this because the OC's job is to appease the head coach, score points. Look like he's really putting a hell of an offense together, Smitty. The head coach is like, listen over here. You get one-on-one, throw the ball to that mother. Like,
he ain't over the run.
Yeah, don't overthink this. And he had him as a freshman. He's like, Jayden, I'm starting you as a freshman. How special did you see that? Did you see the it factor in Jayden right away?
Yeah, smart guy, very athletic. And we made it simple for Jayden too. N'Keal Henry was there. We had some receiver and his favorite guy was Brandon Ayuk. Ayuk was there with him, right? I used to call him on this. I'd call him. I'd have a timeout. I'd call him over there to come to the sideline. And I used to call him. I called Jayden 5. I said, 5. I said, what you think? He said, Coach. I said, know what you think. And I said, Ayuk. I said, what you want to do? He said, I'm going to run a go route. I said, throw it to him. I said, okay, throw it. Just make sure you catch it.
We overcomplicate the game, Coach. We do.
Coach, he said, I can beat that guy all day. Then throw him a go route. Don't worry about it. That's the plan. Call upstairs and say, hey, we're going to throw a go route over there to Brandon. We're going to be fine.
People overcomplicate. I used to have a coach come in and was like, Coach, I want to take a 5 and a 2, and he's got to pump up. I said, boy, you don't shut the hell up and let Malik Henry throw the goddamn ball over here to the comeback. I'm like, why are we doing all this? Like, the guy can throw. It's crazy how these youngsters. Coach, how much have you seen when you go to, the AFCA and all the clinics that we used to always go to and all this stuff, and you've seen all these youngsters, can you teach me how to run this mesh concept? And I'm like, boy, learn how to damn put a program together first. Like, X's and O's is all they care about nowadays. They don't have any clue what it takes to, like, the meat and potatoes, do they?
Well, I think what you got to understand is how do you really connect with your players?
Relationship.
That's more important than anything, man. How you communicate to your players. You got to have open dialogue, and you get respect when you respect people. And I always tell players, look, I'm a teacher, man. I'm here to give you knowledge. And if you accept it, you're going to get better. If you don't, that's on you, right? And I make it real. I was always real with them, and they knew it. The players always not real, man. Come on, man. This is what we want to do.
Real, recognize real, Coach.
Right? And because you always got to, I always tell coaches, man, don't forget, coaches coach what players play. Players play. And the players that want to own the grass, man. I said, in the classroom is easy, but they got to do it on the grass. And I said, let them play on the grass. Don't complicate things. Hey, I'm going to tell you something. Okay, Dale Carter. I had Dale Carter out of Tennessee. And he came to Kansas State out secondary coach, first-round pick. And we had a lot of double-digit concepts on defense. They change formations, they motion, you go from one coverage to another coverage. So Dale, man, he, ball gets snapped or motion, they run across the field, and we go to another coverage, and there was smoke coming out of this guy's helmet, man. And he couldn't figure it out. And so I go to Marty. I said, Marty, we got to stop this. He said, what do you mean, Herm? I said, we got to stop this. I said, he needs one coverage. I said, what is that? I did like this. I did like this. He said, what's that? I said, that's cat coverage. He said, what is cat coverage? I said, I'm going to tell him you will cover your cat. Don't worry about anything else. So I told Dale. I said, Carter. I said, here's the deal, man. I said, we doing this now. He said, Coach, what's that? I said, cat coverage. You go cover 89, and wherever he go, you cover. He goes, Coach, I like that. Dude's all pro, man.
Dang. Keep it simple.
People don't realize I try to tell Smitty all the time. I'm like, man, we got to KISS method. People don't use it no more.
Stupid.
Nobody uses it no more.
Because at the end of the day, when you don't allow your good players to play, you're failing the team.
Yeah.
They think too much, right? Thinking too much.
Look, and we all of us been players at one time. Yep. You know who the good players are.
Come on,
we all know who the good players are. You can't trick the players. Right. They know who the good players are. They're going, wait a minute, man. The system's too hard for this guy to learn. You got a bad system.
Yeah.
Coach, I had Jermaine Johnson, obviously on Netflix at Indy, and he goes first round, and my eighth first rounder I had out of JUCO. And I'm like, okay. We got a DC that wants to fire zone him and drop him into the flat and quarter cover. I said, boy, if you don't let this cat go get the damn quarterback, he's a first-round NFL player, and we're over here making him think. I'm like, come on, man. I said, you want to get a job? You want to go D1? Let that mother go get the quarterback. And guess what? He was the number one player in JUCO, goes first round. But what do we know, Coach? When you're the head coach, you don't know shit.
Hey, it's as tough as Bill Parcells used to be, right? Mm-hmm. Bill Parcells. He's with the Giants. I'm with the Eagles. They get Lawrence Taylor. So they get Lawrence Taylor. And he said, what do you do? He said, I just get him to practice every day. And I said, go get him. The other guy, 10 guys, will adjust. You go get them.
Yeah.
You just go get them, man.
Is LT the greatest football player you've ever seen?
Oh,
I call him he's my favorite player of all time.
The greatest for me, and I'm a little older than you guys, was Jim Brown.
Okay. Respect.
No doubt.
Because if you do the math, I tell people this all the time. Back in the era Jim Brown played, he's 6 yards behind the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
He played in the running league. Yeah. There's 11 guys on defense that say they're going to give him the ball. Nobody could tackle him.
Nobody.
11 guys trying to tackle one guy. Couldn't tackle him. Jim Brown could not tackle the guy, man.
Yeah.
And to me, he was just like, well, he was a different cat, this guy. But LT on defense, yeah, he wrecked the game.
And And what was his name? Schwallenberger or whatever, the head coach of Syracuse, to get him and then Ernie Davis and then oh boy, they went to Denver, Tittle or not Little.
Yeah, they had a bunch of running backs up there.
Man.
Syracuse had good football back in those days.
No,
Jim Brown, man, he was phenomenal, man. I mean, he really was.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Let me ask you kind of a two-folded question. Tell me, I guess, as a player. In NFL, excuse me, what was your favorite moment as a player, and what was your favorite moment as a coach that comes to mind?
The scoop score, Smitty. When you ask that man a scoop score?
And it wasn't because it's funny because the play almost comes back to haunt you.
Yeah.
You know, because people are saying, but I tell people all the time, I say, yeah, but you know what? I had 38 interceptions.
Right.
They downgrade that.
They talk about a fumble. I said, yeah, that was a fumble. I just picked the ball and ran with it, man. I mean, I get that part. I said, but I think when we went to the Super Bowl, we were the first Eagle team to go back when we went, when it was Dick Vermeil was our coach. Great man.
Yeah.
And really we didn't have the most talented team, but we were a tough team, man. We were mentally tough, a good bunch of guys, right? I mean, that's what we were. I would say anytime you go to a Super Bowl, my first NFL interception, I tell people all the time, was against the Rams and Joe Namath. And he was with the Rams. And, I can remember Joe Namath when he won the Super Bowl in '68 with Miami. And I'm in my rookie year, I'm in the Coliseum. I said, man, I'm playing against Joe Namath, man.
That had to feel amazing, right? That had to feel like surreal almost.
And that's the great thing about pro football when you grow up and you're a football guy.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you're playing against these guys. You're playing against Lynn Swann. You're playing against Roger Staubach. You're playing against, all these quarterbacks you've seen. Burt Jones. I mean, you're like, really, man?
Yeah,
I'm playing against it. I watch him on television, right? I mean, Roger Staubach. I'm playing against Roger Staubach, man. I mean, you almost have to pinch yourself, right?
Yeah.
You almost have to pinch yourself when you come in that league. And, when you come in there as a rookie, you don't know what you don't know. And you're just playing. And then all of a sudden, as you continue to play, look, when we played, guys, there was only 14 regular season games. There were 6 preseason games. Can you imagine that? 6? There was 6 preseason games, man.
No
and so
doubt.
it was a grind. I mean, football was a grind back in those days. It was considered a running league. You had great running backs all through that.
Coach, we had one of your former teammates on our show, man, Vince Papali on the show.
Yes.
It was
good
legendary.
Man. That was good dude, man.
That was legendary.
Good cat, man.
No really doubt. Hey, let me ask you something. Is Marty, Coach Schottenheimer, is he getting done? Should he be in the Hall of Fame?
I think so. Yep. I think
he's got 200 wins. I think there's only 9 coaches in history.
Yeah. And he was a great coach, man. He was a stubborn coach.
He get after your ass, huh?
Oh yeah, he was a stubborn coach, man. One thing about him, toughness. You're gonna run the football. And he kind of opened up a little bit, gonna play good defense, but he's one of those traditional guys. And he opened up a little bit when we got Joe Montana. Remember Joe Montana came to Kansas City. And we got Joe and we had Marcus Allen. And we had a good crew, but we couldn't beat Buffalo. You know, Buffalo was kind of, we'd go to Buffalo and we'd lose to Buffalo all the time in the championship game, right? Buffalo was kind of that team. You know, Buffalo was Philly, right? Buffalo was the Chiefs back in those days. You know,
it's so ironic because now it's flipped. Now the Bills can't get past the Chiefs in today's football, right? It's flipped.
Well, I got a feeling the Bills are going to be okay. That quarterback they got, man.
You bad boy. You're a bad boy now.
He's really good, guys. Yeah, really good, man.
No doubt. I love this. Just hearing the old school stuff. You've been around Shoddy, his son, getting to see him as a youngster. What do you expect? What's your expectations as a rookie head guy this year?
He's been around it. Dallas is a different organization, as we all know. A good organization in this sense. Jerry will do what he has to do to get players. He'll pay his players. And here's what I say about the Cowboys, and I've said this numerous times on television. When you go to Dallas, because it's the Cowboys, even as a rookie or a young guy, you already feel like you're a star. Yeah. Because it's the Cowboys, right? Yeah. We always talk about it, and they got a star on the side of their helmet, and it's the Dallas Cowboys. And so you already feel like, man, I'm a star. Well, here's the problem. When you look at the playoffs and you look at their star players, okay, look at CD Lamb. CD Lamb's only got 2 touchdowns in the playoffs. You look at the stars. They don't play well in the playoffs, guys.
They don't. It factor.
At the end of the day, your stars got to show up in the playoffs. Okay? They got to be big. That's why they stars. That's their stage now. Okay? Look, when I was coach, I used to tell them players, I said, all you players, all you good ones now, you need to show up. This is your game. This is your game now. You got, it's like basketball, right? Game 7 is like, okay, get out the way. We know who will get the ball. You know, you get the ball. I was back in Philly when we had Julius Erving and boys, right? Yeah. And so Philly, they had those guys, and the baseball team had Mike Smith, Gary Maddox, all of them. They went to the World Series. The Phillies basketball
Flyers,
team,
you had the Flyers.
All of us went to the championship game.
Balling out.
Ooh. The whole city. And you watch the stars, man. You know, late inning, Mike Smith come to bat. You go, all right, he's going to probably get a home run. Pop, get a home run, right? Julius Erving, they gave him the ball. And Mochi's would give him the ball, and Julius Erving go down there, and Barkley would knock guys out of the way, and here goes Doctor. And I'm like, hey, man, that's what stars do. Yep. The Dallas Cowboys, you look at their stars in playoff competition, guys, the numbers aren't good.
Nah, you're right. I've been saying, tell Smitty, man, overpaid under deliverers. There's nothing worse as a coach to have to pay an under deliverer. Like, I'm just saying, and that's in college, giving a scholarship to an under deliverer. It's the same thing. Smitty's paying you some type of way. Now they're actually getting real money. But coach, as you, I can't thank you enough, man. It's been legendary. I got to ask you one thing. Jayden Daniels and CJ Stroud, 2 kids I got to see since they were youngsters. Now we're seeing, 2 of the best rookie years we maybe have ever seen by both guys. Are you seeing the next Elway Marino combination going at it? Marino kind of pocket guy. CJ not really going to run around. He'll ad-lib. But Jayden do both. Elway did both. I mean, these are 2 big arm, accurate guys. What are you seeing that?
Yeah, I see them continuing to get better.
Next 15 years.
Yeah, and the key is their offensive coordinator, Cliff Kingsbury. It was kind of ironic because Cliff Kingsbury was on my team with the Jets. He was like we got a bunch of quarterbacks hurt, and that's when I first met him. When I'm at Arizona State, Kingsbury is at Arizona. So he watched Jayden in college. Right. So this wasn't a hard pick for them. Yeah. When they decided to pick him. It's like, hey, man, because the gate called me. I said, what do you think? I said, if he's sitting on the board, you better take this dude and don't even mess around. And they took him and obviously had a great year. And it'll be interesting. And you guys know this. Your second year is always your hardest year in the NFL. Yep. Sophomore year is always hard, man. Because of the expectations, that you put on yourself as a player. And I'm hoping Jayden doesn't do that, and I know what kind of kid he is. He's going to – but they got a good football team, and they're set for the next 10 years.
Let me ask you this real quick. Caleb Williams, do you feel like – I know his rookie year is it's a lot of ups and downs there. Are you a believer in Caleb Williams? You think he's going to bounce back?
I am. And I think the new coach is going to help him. Look, Ben Johnson, he's going to help him. He's been in the division. He knows the division. Caleb is he's going to be a good player, guys. And I told Bear fans, I said, man, don't give up on this quarterback. He's going to be okay now. He'll be fine. And I think this year with this offense that'll be resurrected and the way he plays, he's going to be good.
Now, Coach, my last question, I'm going to leave you alone. I'm a big-time Lamar Jackson guy on this show. Me and JB, we go at it every single season.
Jackson.
Do you believe, in your heart of hearts, will Lamar Jackson get him a Super Bowl title before the end of his career? Your honest opinion.
Oh, boy.
Keep it real, Coach.
You know what? I pull for Lamar Jackson. I hope so. But here's the problem, man.
Say it.
Yeah.
I don't like the energy.
It used to be one team. It was the Chiefs.
Yeah.
But now you got the Buffalo Bills, man.
Cincinnati Burrow gonna get back. He's gonna be back.
Don't scratch your head. Don't scratch your head, Coach. Don't scratch your head.
You're right. But here's the problem with Cincinnati. And I'm knocking on wood for them.
Here we go.
They always get off to bad starts.
I know.
Try to tell JB that.
They get behind the 8 ball, man, and they play catch up. Hopefully, they don't get off to a bad start. It's going to be interesting to me. This is the one I want to see.
Say it.
Aaron Rodgers is with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Woo!
What's that going to look like?
DK Metcalf over there. They just got Jalen Ramsey. They got Darius Slay over there. They got some cats.
Interesting, man.
Hey, Coach, your guy Mike Tomlin, he don't fail too often. So I gotta believe in him right now. Like he's doing something. They get Jalen Ramsey over there. They get rid of me.
I get it. I mean, I'm hoping Aaron Rodgers, because of the way he played last year, he doesn't want to go out that way.
He don't.
He finds lightning in a bottle, and they get because that's a tough division.
AFC North. I mean, it's between them and who would you say, JB? As far as the top 2 divisions.
AFC West and NFC North.
NFC North.
AFC West had 3 out of 14 make playoffs last year. Now you got Pete Carroll. Raiders are better.
And the Raiders going to be better.
Yeah, they'll be better. So I don't know.
Man.
Let me ask you this.
You play to win the game, man. So we'll see.
Coach, I got to ask you, Dion, your boy. I've known him a long time as well, and I go hard on these guys just because I'm just trying to get his fair critique. Everybody called me a hater. Shador Sanders, are you high on him, higher than I am? Why did he drop? What do you expect from him going forward?
Well, I think he's going to win the job. I've known him since a little kid. All right, I know Dion, and I think the Dion factor, that bravado, that's why teams kind of went, we don't want this, right? Let's call it like it is. They didn't want that, but I didn't think he would drop that far.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But once they start falling, then it's just But I think that was all because of when he came, when you decided to draft him, you knew what you were going to get, and they didn't want all that attention. The organizations, they said, we don't want this, we don't want that. Now, hey, and people say, well, it doesn't matter. Well, it does matter. It matters this way because the bonus you get when you're a first-round pick compared to a fifth-round pick, you never make up that money. So now, and he'll eventually, he'll be a starter and all that. Eventually, hopefully that really works out for him. But at the end of the day, man, it was like me being a free agent. I didn't get drafted.
Right.
That money I could have been drafted. Okay, I never see that money. Not like it's a big deal, but people say, well, that ain't a big deal. Yeah, it's a big deal. It's a big deal, man. When you go from a first-round pick to a third-round pick or a fourth-round pick.
Especially at that age, right? Especially at that age.
He went fifth.
Yeah, he went fifth. Like that's what I'm saying. He made more money in college.
Yeah,
correct.
So let me ask you: are you saying starter day one, or he's going to earn the job as the season goes? With because you got an OG Flacco there. He's probably in his last year, but
can he pick it?
He's won it all. He's got his experience. I don't know.
Yeah, but I know this. If I was there and it's even, I'm playing the rookie. Because I always told players this when I was a coach. Say, let me tell you something, guys. Here's the deal. I used to tell the veterans this. Look, if it's even with you and a rookie, I'm going to play the rookie.
You almost have to, right?
Because all you have is experience.
That's it.
That's all you got. The only way you're going to get experience is play. So if you let it be even, don't let it be even, because I'm going to play the young guy. Because he's going to get better.
Yeah.
You can't get no better because you flatline now. But this rookie, only thing he don't have is experience. And that's what Dick Vermeil told me. He says, hey, man, you're a rookie. He says, you know what I got to do with you? I said, what, Coach? I got to start you. He threw me out there. He said, you go play. I went and played.
Hey, tell Smitty every day, hands-on experience beats book smart every day.
Try to tell you, man, play those young guys know the thing, JB. Put them young guys in the game, JB. So I love it.
I don't think he'll start, but I love Coach Edwards. So hey, Coach, I love you, man. Appreciate
I love
you.
talking to you, Coach.
Appreciate you both, man.
Are you back in Cali or are you somewhere?
Yeah, we're in Cali. We up in Northern Cali. We up in Carmel.
Okay.
I start that commute probably next month to Bristol.
Oh, got you. Getting ready for season.
Get ready for season.
I got it this summer. I'm gonna bring the yacht up north, man. I'm in Long Beach, LA, so I'm gonna drive up the coast to see you.
All right, give me a call, brother.
I appreciate you, Coach.
All right, Coach. Appreciate you, Coach.